Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones discussing with each other. This will be interesting.
The political solution out of this, people talk about political solution, usually they mean voting. And I think that, yeah, voting is not really going to help a ton. I think that the best bet for us in the future is 26.
Oh, it has helped. Some people maybe like you don't think so, but you maybe don't realize how bad it was in the past compared to now, how much better it is in terms of the media, in terms of freedom of someone like you couldn't even have existed in the past. Well, you've been deplatformed everywhere, but you still have a platform now, and Alex Jones still has a platform. Anyway, voting does help. Trump got in, and he forced change to the entire political apparatus in the United States. Republicans, a lot of them aren't deep state anymore. You have a lot of anti-establishment Republicans now. That's a change. And that happened through voting.
Democrats win by a lot. And the only reason I want to see that is because
it is because you are an idiot. Democrats win by a lot. Democrats then cooperate with the European Union to shut down Rumble and X, as X is a free platform. They force Elon Musk to censor people there. That's what happens. You are voting to be deplatformed if you are encouraging people to vote Democrat. Yes, Democrats are nearly guaranteed to win because of the economic damage from this Iran war. But if possible, I would like those losses on the Republican side to be as small as possible so that, the Democrats can't institute draconian censorship on the internet. Yes. Do you like draconian censorship? Because that's what you're urging your viewers to vote for.
Democrats in the House will have oversight powers, and they can slow down.
They only need a simple majority to get that oversight power. Like, they only need to win the House by 1 seat to get those oversight powers. What you want to do is urging your voters to vote in mass. Giving them more than 1 seat is very dangerous because you could get deplatformed from the final platform that you stream on, for example.
This administration. The administration is doing
harm.
So you
want to use the Democrats as a check?
Yes, exactly. I don't support Democrats in and of themselves, but the Trump administration is bad. Like, it's hurting us.
You want to kill the arrogant.
Okay, Nick Fuentes, this actually annoys me. You're not giving Trump administration credit where credit is due. Why do we know Pizzagate is real? Because of the Trump administration. Why do we know that the SPLC was funding right-wing terrorism and racism in the United States? So this left-wing group then funding, Nazis and Ku Klux Klan. How do we know that? The Trump administration. You know what has happened since the Biden administration? The border was closed. The border, though, was wide open. Imagine, this guy right here has said Kamala Harris would have been better. Well, let me tell you what would have happened under Kamala Harris. The border would be just as open now as it was under Biden. We'd have 4, 5, 6 million more illegal immigrants in the country right now. No, more than that, because you have to do, Trump has taken out 3 million either via direct deportations or people that have taken up his offer to leave for payment. So, and then you close the border. So you actually have the illegal immigrant population shrinking in America the first time in a long time. That is the Trump administration. Kamala Harris, it would be exploding. And I'm hoping he's well-intentioned, but to not give credit to that that's so much better than the alternative. Yes, this Iran war is bad, but having like 6, 7 million more illegal immigrants in the country is very bad too. Oh, God.
Yes.
Kamala Harris was the border czar under Biden, the one who oversaw the flood of illegal migrants into the country. And you wanted to put that person in the White House? That is your idea of being better than Trump? Nick Fuentes is honestly delusional on some subjects.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I called for 25th Amendment Trump, knowing he attacked me. I love it. I was trying to get him, just without having to do that, get him to stop, but he's not stopping.
And he won't. Why would he? I mean, it's total exuberance in the White House. He's a megalomaniac. It's total. You know this. You told me about it. You've said it on your show too. He's totally unhinged. He's out to lunch. And so it's like the only thing that will.
I told you a year ago, but I said don't say it yet. But he is megalomaniac now.
Yeah, he always was to an extent. It might have gotten worse, but he always was. And it was more tolerable because he wasn't doing fucking things like starting wars in Iran. And that's why I tolerated it. I say rolled my eyes when he was talking about renaming something in his name or doing a ballroom or whatever. But it's not funny anymore when he's become the deep state internationally. Going after wars, going after Greenland, going after Iran, Venezuela, now Cuba. It's endless. He promised to bring down inflation, then attacks Iran.
Yeah, and and it's clear. I mean, it's obvious.
We lost him. Oh no.
Reconnect with Nick.
Oh,
Nick's back. Nick, you said it's totally obvious. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said it's totally obvious, comparing himself to Jesus Christ, his comments on Easter, all these things. Like, it's very clear that he's got some problems here. And so in any case, I think that the only way that we can exert any kind of pressure on him is really from the Democrats. Get them in there to a.
And so everything Trump has done, like affirming there's only two genders in the United States on those topics, you're not acknowledging any of that. Nick Fuentes wants to hold Trump voters accountable for voting for Trump, but he doesn't want to be held accountable for what the Democrats do when he votes for the Democrats. It's completely hypocritical.
Oppose the administration. And then in 2028, this is the real play. We need to find and get behind an America First Republican to
I agree with that.
win in the primary, because I think that the last thing that we need is a coronation of J.D. Vance.
I actually liked J.D. Vance. I was okay with him, being the prospective next president. The only issue I have now is I don't think he can win. People just don't understand how politically devastating this Iran war is going to be. And the fallout is going to completely bury Trump's political career and drag down anyone associated too closely with him. Being that Trump's vice president is going to be a death sentence in terms of winning the nomination in 2028. So I think Fuentes is wasting his time railing against Vance because Vance is finished anyway, just like Trump. So what's the expression, like kicking a dead horse or something? It's a complete waste of time. They're already dead.
I know you feel differently than I do about
No, let's
him.
talk about that. I mean, I get what you're saying. If we lose the midterms, we have a shot at winning the general election. That's just basic political science. But they're going to go for...
Yes, that is a political science, but I am very worried about censorship. We finally have free platforms like X and Rumble where you can speak your mind, and YouTube is doing okay too, in that I think that honestly some topics like Azugol doing a video on Pizzagate and that getting millions of views, that's good. The EU badly wants to censor the internet and social media platforms and everything. And why they can't do that is the United States isn't on board. There's Republicans in control of the House and the Senate and the presidency. And so there's a limit to what they can do in terms of censorship under that situation. If Democrats have a sweeping victory in the House and the Senate, then oh my God, it's back, game on. It's the EU will coordinate with Democrats to censor the fuck out of the internet, draconian style. And Nick Fuentes, bye-bye, you're the first to go. You go bye-bye. So it might happen if they might try it, even if they get a slim majority. So, but that'll be hilarious if the consequence of Democrats winning the midterms is the complete deplatforming of Nick Fuentes, who encouraged people to vote for them. It would be karma.
We're stacking the Supreme Court, cramming it, ending the filibusters. That's why I'm so concerned. But I get your logic that it's how it works. The party in power then loses power. So if they win the House and Senate, then we win the next time. But you're right. Look, I don't think J.D. Vance is a bad guy. I don't think he's like a Manchurian candidate, but I get your points, serious concerns, whatever. Fine, then who would be?
I think Nick is a little paranoid. And he doesn't, I don't know if he really believes in deep state in the way I do. There's one central point. There are people that are deep state and there's people that are not. And J.D. Vance going to Europe and criticizing the EU, like publicly on camera and things about their push for censorship, that means he's 100% not deep state. That never happened. You can go like people like Bush, the Clintons, whatever. They have the same position on all core issues. They never diverge like that. Vance, maybe he's influenced on some topics, it's possible, but overall he is definitely not deep state, and he would not be the deep state's candidate of choice in any presidential election. So I guarantee you that there.
We'll talk about the larger issue of this process of in it, power, out of power, and then who would be the American first person? Who would be our dark horse? Who would be our savior?
Well, like I said, I think that it just can't be a coronation, because the way it is right now, and this is something that people are not really hip to, is that
it won't be a coronation. This Iran war will hurt Trump administration. I know he's railed against the Iran war, but I don't think he fully understands how bad the political consequences, economic and political consequences, will be. And if he did, then he wouldn't be worrying about Vance so much, because people are going to be furious with the Trump administration. Absolutely furious.
for the past couple of years, the whole GOP establishment is just lining up behind JD Vance. And Rubio, who is now being considered an alternative by like the pro-Israel crowd, even he has said if Vance runs, he won't oppose. And in Rubio, who knows if that's true? That might just be politics. But like,
well, by the way, I told this story like 6 months before the election. I'm up at TPUSA in Michigan, and they go, "Hey, JD Vance was to me. I never met him in person. He when he was even a candidate, he defended my free speech and all. He was a nice guy. So I got whisked in there and I talked to him, and he goes, I go, well, I hear you're in. I hear your consideration. He goes, no, I haven't. I'm the vice president. And I shook his hand and talked to him about, you got to go after the deep state. Here's the problems. And he goes, yeah, we're on.
I think Alex Jones is like me in that at this point in time, he can tell. You can tell if you've been on the alternative media as long as we have, who is deep state for sure and who isn't. And he knows, like I do, that Vance is, and he can't. There are such a wide range of topics that deep state will never touch, and some actions that politician takes that, okay, that guy is on the wrong side or he's on the right side. And I'd say going to Europe and then talking against EU censorship and all that, and all the policies he takes, he's completely incompatible with the U.S. deep state. He's not. He advances anti-establishment. Amount of Israel influence on him, I think it's less than Trump. But overall, he's an acceptable anti-establishment candidate, Vance.
On that, I'm talking about Smith Muntak with him. And then Chase Geyser comes in, was like taping it. So I'm not mad at Chase, but Chase has a camera and they're like, oh, whoa. I said, delete that right now. But the point is that he was just like, no, I haven't. Months and months before. He's like, before the nomination, I haven't. So what is that? How did he was just like, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, there's something going on there. And he and his wife feel the same way about the nomination. The wife, Usha Vance, allegedly, she's already thinking she's the first lady. She's already thinking she is the married to the president. They don't think they just have the nominee. They think they have the next president.
You're vice president. You're the wife of the vice president. You are very close to being the first lady. Just to let you know, I actually believe she will be first lady because I think Trump is going to be impeached and Vance will be president. So she is going to be the first lady, no matter whether you like it or not, Nick Fuentes. And on that note, I think Vance will end up president, but I think that he won't run in 2028 because Trump gets impeached and he rules as a lame duck, and he's too tarred by the fallout from the Iran war. In my opinion.
It's the early.
Why do you think they grabbed him at the shooting Saturday night for Trump?
Well, they say that that's standard protocol, but who knows? I mean, maybe.
Who knows? The one secret security agent was more on top of things than another. I don't know. There was no real threat, so
they were protecting the real VIP. Maybe they're, who knows? Maybe there's something going on there.
Protocol to grab the vice president?
No, it's definitely weird and should be investigated, but a shooting that I don't think ever had any real prospects of accomplishing anything. None of this matters too much to me.
That's what they said. I'm saying that was their defense, but like you said, I mean, I don't think that sounds that doesn't sound right to me. Because you're right, Trump was still eating.
Well, you've been a big critic of Vance, and you predicted this Iran fiasco. Why are you a critic of Vance? Talk about it.
Well, Vance is very close with Peter Thiel, who I don't trust. And I know Tucker's a good friend of Peter Thiel, and I know you feel differently about Palantir and all that, but I don't trust Peter Thiel at all. I'm Catholic. Peter Thiel just was on a recording saying that the Pope is the Antichrist and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, it's besides the point. Vance is a creation of Peter Thiel. He's a creation of little tech every step of the way. Recruited at Yale, sent out to Silicon Valley, worked his fake career, no-show job in venture capital. Yeah. Then he got the...
I'm looking up about Peter Thiel on the side. I've heard his name. I think I remember that he's not deep state, because all this comes down is do you trust Peter Thiel? And Nick Shirley doesn't trust Peter Thiel because Vance because of Peter Thiel. And so you have to look into that. I might do a little bit myself.
The $15 million from Peter Thiel with the Trump endorsement to go into the Senate. And so it's like, in other words, this is a guy that kind of owes everybody a lot. He owes all these people basically his entire career, and he's going to be the president.
Okay, here's my thing. There are people like Elon Musk that are very rich, and they can make people. They can tweet about someone, bring them up to prominence, and make them, like Nick Shirley's worried about. But they're definitely on the right side of history, like Elon Musk. And is Peter Thiel one of those really rich people? And then the Vance becomes perfectly okay, or is he one of deep state agents? Let's see.
President. We don't even know who he is. I mean, 10 years ago, he was a never-Trumper. He voted for Evan McMullin.
One way you can tell is by looking up the scandals attached to any people like Elon Musk or, in this case, Peter Thiel. And it's one thing that Alex Jones probably has experience with this too. You can tell when it's a made-up fake controversy, the type the deep state makes, and then versus a real one.
Mullen, the CIA agent picked by Bill Kristol to be a spoiler in Utah. He loves
Bill Kristol. That guy is definitely deep state.
Obama. On Inauguration Day in 2017, he said, like, Trump supporters hate Obama because he's too smart. He's too...
And he's worried about Palantir working with the CIA. Well, Starlink also works with the CIA. It's contributing hugely in the war in Ukraine. And so the Starlink Elon Musk also has ties with U.S. intelligence agencies, but he's still one of the people that's retweeting all the stories that the deep state wants to keep buried.
Cerebral, and they hate that a black guy is more intelligent than them. Like, this is who the guy's a chameleon. I don't know who he is. I don't trust him. I don't love this Peter Thiel thing. He obviously owes everybody. And the way it's shaping out is that in 28, everyone's going to get behind him. And if he goes out there and just starts winning every single primary, there's going to be no room for a real contest. And it's like, there should be, because Trump has been on the ballot 3 times.
Let me tell you where I'm on Peter Thiel. I simply cover facts. So you have Alexa 15 years ago, listen to every word you say. For a decade, all the cars are already self-driving. They just don't tell you. 5 years ago, they passed a law with kill switches in all the cars. My point is that it is little tech. The reason you see Palantir everywhere is they're doing the same thing Google and IBM and Microsoft do. They're coming in contending for the contract. So I'm saying we see corporate media.
Yeah, Palantir isn't doing anything worse than others.
Telling us about Palantir all day because they want to go, oh, look, be scared of big tech. I'm not defending Palantir. It's the same thing. I'm simply saying it's just one more flavor at the ice cream shop. So it's not a defense of Palantir. I'm just not going to sit there and like go, oh, this is the surveillance state. It's already there. That's my only point. But I agree. J.D. Vance was basically, like you said, grown by this thing. And you know, I was more pro-Trump previously. I saw it as coming in to kind of surveil the deep states, what Trump said, because you got to have like an end-to-end guide like Lewis and Clark to get across the country. You know, Trump has to have some big tech. All the other big tech toast Obama and pledge allegiance to him.
Okay. let's have a look at this. It's the AI overview. Peter Thiel, targeting the bureaucracy. Allies of Thiel, including former staffers and investors connected to his network, have been involved in efforts to dismantle or restructure various federal agencies. That's definitely what Deep State hates. That it's dismantling its mechanisms of control. Working group on the Deep State strategist Steve Bannon described Thiel as actively working to dismantle surveillance capabilities and regulatory power of the intelligence community. And Truth and Reconciliation. As early as 2025, Thiel called for Truth and Reconciliation Commission to uncover the secrets of the American ancient regime, suggesting a restructuring of the government's entrenched power. So, he is... Yes, conversely, his Palantir technology is a very component of the apparatus he criticizes. Well, that's just the real world for you. U.S. government is huge spender, and it's difficult for any major technology company to not have dealings with the U.S. government. No, I think he's anti deep state, anti-government. He's more on the good side, definitely, and he's a Trump backer, and he backs Vance, and Vance goes to Europe and talks about how horrible their censorship is there. If Peter Thiel was really on the wrong side, he wouldn't be letting his protege Vance go give the Europeans lectures on censorship.
Who's been the shadow president. So who do we bring in to big tech to take control if it is a Palantir, which I'm not saying we should do, but that was what we were sold. And then Trump kind of goes, oh, forget Palantir, because you look at the budget, Palantir is tiny compared to Google and Microsoft and Amazon and then Oracle. So I'm just like telling listeners, okay, yeah, I'll talk about Palantir every day because New York Times tells me to. I'm just saying the exact same crap is being done by all these other guys, and they get most of the funding. You see my point?
I totally understand. It's just that, to me, I see Palantir as just as bad as them because they're in bed with Israel. They do these contracts.
No, they're using AI to kill people.
Yeah, and it's run by Alex Karp, who's a freak. I mean, Alex Karp is a freak who hates us. He thinks that Christian nationalists are going to kill him for being Jewish. Like,
he says his number one fear is that Christian nationalists will throw him off a building.
Right.
He's not worried about Muslims.
And they're all like that. Lonsdale at Founders Fund is like that. Sean McGuire at Sequoia is like that. All these people in Little Tech are like that. All these people in El Segundo, all those people in Silicon Valley, they're all like this. I mean, there's a lot of people even that are lesser known.
So this would be the bad side of Peter Thiel, is close tie to Israel. But on some... there are mixed bags. I'd much rather someone like Tucker Carlson win in presidency in 2028 than someone that's beholden to Israel in any way. But overall, compared to someone like Kamala Harris that is 100% deep state, I would prefer someone like Vance.
And I happen to know some of their names, but they're like total pro-Israel partisans, pro-Trump, pro-Israel. And that's really what constitutes the movement behind Vance. Even look at his chief of staff. His chief of staff, Jacob Reeses, is a Tikva Fund fellow. So he was literally backed by the Israel lobby from the very beginning. There's this article about how J.D. Vance's entourage is all like 6'5" handsome Chads. And then this little Jewish guy is his chief of staff, Jacob Reeses. It's like, so this is the kind of stuff that's going on over there. And all I'm saying is in 28, we need a competition. Trump's been on.
I think Trump made an alliance with the Zionist Israeli crowd. He clearly did, and for political reasons. And he's delivered on small things like bombing a general in Iran during his first term, recognizing the West Bank as part of Israel or something. Some things that don't really, well, they matter, but compared to the Iran war, they don't matter at all. And I think that it was just him just going along with what Israel wanted in this case in Iran war without understanding the full consequences. Without understanding it, it's not like recognizing Israel's control over East Jerusalem. It's not something small like that. Iran war was a presidency-ending decision, and if he'd just been aware of that and just avoided that, he was manipulated into this war, but it was also just a lack of knowledge or understanding on his part for how the world really works.
On the ballot 3 times. It's a question of succession.
Well, that's
Who's
another
gonna
question.
lead
You
the
go to
right
TV
wing?
USA or you go to CPAC, it's all Trump. What do they think of the future is?
Excuse me, but am I like the only one who is like, oh, people will be, but then what is this? What
Right? I'm on the party and
for him? They're like almost don't deserve a
side.
anymore.
Right. And it really should be up to us to decide. And I think we need another referendum on the party. And basically, we need to say, look, Trump didn't go far enough. The MAGA movement failed. When we can talk about why that is and how it happened, but the MAGA movement does not resemble what it originally was.
MAGA movement was fighting a deep state, and deep state, I think, it finally managed to take Trump down by getting him into the stupid Iran war. It just keep the fight. MAGA, as far as I'm concerned, it accomplished what it was supposed to. It's exposed stuff like Pizzagate. It's exposed a whole bunch of stuff. It exposed that the Russia Gate was a hoax. And it'll sure a lot more will come to light before the end of Trump's term. It's accomplishing what it should. It's just there's just this idiotic Iran war added to the mix. But regardless of how bad and absolutely terrible I think the Iran war is going to be, Kamala Harris would have been worse. It would have been worse in every way. Plus, this Iran war, it would have happened 100% also. So Kamala Harris would have been an even bigger disaster than Trump.
It's something else now. It utterly and totally failed. It was assimilated to the GOP. I'm not going to vote for more MAGA. I'm not going to vote for Vance or Rubio, who are a part of this train wreck. They're complicit in it. They're a part of it. They own it.
Nick,
I'm not going to support
you
it.
got me. I said this from the start of the show. This is an ass-kissing contest. All I know in the universe is go with who has been right the most. You have been as right as much as I have, and I'm one of the best people at that, and you've been even more right in many ways. That's why give me the...
I agree. Go with the person that's been right the most. And you would be one of the most right, Alex Jones, if you just stopped talking about aliens. And demons, maybe. Anyway, and Alex Jones, and Nick Fuentes, you would be one of the most right if you didn't tell people to vote Democrat.
The future, then. And I already said this 8 times, but I want the future. I know you don't like to speculate, but just give me what you think the different breaks are here.
So I think in 28, we have a chance to run a dark horse that's America first. And I don't know who that person's going to be. I've seen some interesting people. I don't want to say necessarily, because if I say them, it might hurt them,
yeah.
you know. If I say, oh, I like this guy, then...
Tucker is one of the most interesting ones, and Tucker and Nick Fuentes had beef at one point because Tucker had some suspicions about Nick Fuentes and how he didn't get arrested or thrown in jail at all with regard to January 6th. And someone in the comments making lead, I have never heard Nick Fuentes' response to this. Like, how did he explain the fact that he never spent any time in jail, really, with regard to January 6th? I'd love to hear how he thinks that happened, because it still is a little bit suspicious. No, he's clearly not a Democratic pawn, but then he does things like urge people to vote Democrat, and you know who urges people to vote Democrats? The Democrats. He's on the same page as them.
They're going to say, oh, meet the Groyper candidate that's going to run for, you know, they're going to do that. But, you know, there's some people that I've seen and I've noticed, some young people that bring some energy to the table. I can tell you this,
because I have off-record meetings, which is they're not bad to do with the top people, and they are really concerned about you.
Nope. Nick Fuentes, one day maybe, but not right now. you're not as famous as Tucker Carlson for one, and you're doing stupid stuff like urging people to vote Democrat. So I won't be able to get behind it. I mean, people hold grudges, and you think Republicans are going to just forget that you urge people to vote Democrat? And especially when Democrats do things that Republicans hate, they'll remember you as the traitor that urged people to vote Democrat. You're completely killing your political career if you ever wanted one by urging people to vote Democrat. Because it's completely against what your viewers believe. You urge, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to run. I'm not old enough. But
no, they're concerned about your influence, which is why we don't want the Southern Poverty Law Center to get you killed.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay alive out here, you know.
Yeah, I told you years ago, your main mission is stay alive.
Yeah.
Well, it's a low bar.
I would like that to happen. His commentary on Iran and a lot of subjects are great. It goes off the deep end and tells people, yep. I go over it again and again because it's just so damning that he urges people to vote Democrat. It's just, do what Asmongold. You're lending political legitimacy when you vote a Democrat. You're giving them a mandate by increasing their share of the vote. And the amount of damage they do, if nothing else, can be increased if they have a bigger mandate. No, you want Democrats to get a majority, just tell people not to vote or vote independent and let the Iran war do its thing. It'll produce the result you want. Don't need to urge people to vote against their beliefs.
But it's difficult sometimes.
Hey, if you're above ground, it's a good day.
That's so true. I love that. It really is, isn't it? You have to look at it that way sometimes. As long as we're here and we're alive, right? Even if we've lost other things, that's what counts.
But back to my question. So, it's incredible. So back to what you think is going to happen.
So I think that in 28, we got a shot. We got a window here where we can have another referendum on all this, and we need an outsider to come in and run. Now, I don't know that a candidate like that is going to win.
It's going to be a very different world in 2008 because you're going to have a lot more is going to come to light before then. Stuff like the SPLC and et cetera, and on the Epstein thing. And on inflation will have picked up severely. And that could be a good thing if Democrats control Congress. Republicans can blame some of that on them, but ultimately everyone knows it's going to be because of the Iran war. And yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think Vance has a shot. Too much damage. When inflation goes up to double digit and everyone knows that's because of Trump, are they really going to vote for his vice president? And he's probably going to end up as president and having to own that too if Trump gets impeached.
Maybe we could get the vice presidency. And maybe that person can go all the way and win. But I really think we need to be open-minded. A lot of people are trying to say, well, who's it going to be? Who's going to run? Who are we going to get behind that's going to win? It's like in 2016, nobody knew it was going to be Trump. In May of 2015, when that primary started, Jeb Bush was the front runner at like 15%. And people said, oh, Rubio's interesting. Cruz is interesting. That was the field. That was the triumvirate in May of 2015. It was Bush, Cruz, and Rubio. Nobody knew that the asteroid called Donald Trump was going to crash into Earth and change everything forever and define our lives for a decade. And I feel similarly about 2028. Let's not go all in on somebody that we know is not really going to be the guy. Let's open up a space and say, and create the appetite. Let's put the call out and say, we need someone in 28 that's an outsider. We need a leader. We need a Caesar. We need someone that's going to come in and truly put America first without little tech, big tech, without Israel, without the compromises. We have to choose to believe, because otherwise, I'm going to tell you what, if Vance gets a nomination, I don't think he has a good chance. This is going to be the least popular administration in modern history. It's all.
Yes, agreed there. That's why I don't think he's going to get the nomination. Vance will be president, I think, because Trump gets impeached. Democrats win the midterms, they impeach him. And then he's going to oversee 2 years of double-digit inflation and economic the worst stagflation. He is definitely going to drop out. He'll be too damaged to even try running for president for in 2028, and so someone else will come in, and whoever that. And he's right that if Vance did run in 2028, he probably wouldn't win. I agree with Nick Shirley there, but I don't. I think all this lining up behind Vance is over once inflation goes up to double digits.
Already a disaster. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, that's why we've seen Vance trying to distance himself from Trump. But yeah, so exactly. So I'm going to put a headline on this last clip here. Nick Fuentes calls for a dark horse messiah to save America, or Nick Fuentes calls for a dark horse Republican to save America. What's the headline here?
That's the headline. That's the headline. We need a leader in 2028. We need the leader to rise up and take the nomination. And by the way, it needs to be a Republican. People think I'm like some Democrat. I'm not. I want them to win the midterms to slow us down. In 28, it's got to be a Republican. A Democrat's going to kill us, like literally.
So there's your headline. Nick Fuentes.
Yes, but the Democratic Congress, if they go into big a victory, they'll probably deplatform you completely. The Democratic Congress cooperating with the EU, they can do insane amount of damage in terms of censoring and deplatforming honest voices. And I wish you would recognize that more.
Fuentes calls for a Republican victory in 2028.
With an asterisk, it's got to be an America First Republican. We need a dark horse, non-MAGA. MAGA is dead.
Who would it be?
MAGA is dead. No. And well, attacking Iran wasn't MAGA. You mean the MAGA movement is beyond Trump. Trump just figurehead. He might have... okay, that's just my personal opinion, but I don't consider the MAGA movement to be tied to Trump. And so I don't consider it dead.
A Massey? Would it be a Tulsi Gabbard? Would it be an RFK Jr.?
It's MAGA. MAGA is dead.
Who would it be? A Massey? Would it be a Tulsi Gabbard? Would it be an RFK Jr.?
None of those. Tucker's better than all of those names. Tucker understands the deep state and what's going on. He knows about 9/11, World Trade Center 7. He gets it. I think he might even gets it, maybe even more than Alex Jones in some ways. Alex Jones has a lot of stuff like aliens added in. But he knows more about some things like the SPLC funding terrorism. I think Tucker Carlson knows nearly as much as Alex Jones, except without the alien nonsense. So he's I'd be very happy with him as a candidate for president or president.
It's not anybody that you would think of. Because consider there's precedent for this. In 2020, Andrew Yang he's a low millionaire from New York, and he got on the debate stage. This is a precedent. In 2024, Vivek Ramaswamy ran for, and he's an unknown. He's a billionaire. He might have been the nominee if it wasn't for Trump. If Trump were not in the race, maybe Vivek would have been competitive. Now you got a guy like James Fishback in Florida, a total unknown entity, going in against Byron Donalds, who is a shoo-in. He went from 4% to 23%, largely through social media, largely through virality on.
I don't know if I want an unknown quantity. Unknown quantities can be Trojan horses. Obama example. Obama, no new wars. Obama rein in the terrorist, the Patriot Act, the government overreach. He promised those things. He did the opposite. He's the one who okayed the killing of U.S. citizens without, a warrant or anything by drone strike. He's the he started wars in Libya and he bombed all these countries. No, he bombed Yemen. No. So that's what happens when you have someone without a history. They can speak very well like Obama does and then betray everything they speak. So I don't want someone like that. I want someone with a long track record that you can judge.
On social media.
No, it shows there's a hunger for dark horses.
I think the social media is empowering dark horses unknowns to step in and take advantage of this. And you'd be surprised if someone has the right skill set, they could really tap into something that's going on. My generational run, clavicular, all these things that have been going on, they're all gesturing towards something, pointing towards something greater. They're all in.
Just look at what happened to Trump. All the ways the deep state went after Trump. Russia hoax, then all the lawsuits against him, then all the criminal charges against him, and all the media slander towards him. You want an untested candidate, a dark horse, to endure the full wrath of the deep state and survive that. The reason Trump managed to get elected is that he's a media figure. He managed to push his way through that. But someone who's untested, someone who's not have decades in media like Trump, or like Tucker Carlson, another example. I don't think they survive having the deep state after them. They think they crumble, a lot of them. Just because they have good ideals. Do they have, let's say, the wherewithal to endure what it means to go against deep state?
Anticipating something, prefiguring something bigger than all of
what
this.
comes after Trump?
It's got to be something that makes him look like a joke. I mean, what comes after Trump has to make him look like Barack Obama by comparison. It needs to be like serious balls, serious.
Yeah. The deep state's nightmare. Someone like Asmongold. I'm just not Asmongold. He's, well, if he ran, it'd be interesting, but I don't think he wants to run. I think he's very happy commentating. And also, he might run one day, but not now. But someone like Asmongold probably would. Nick Fuentes would support Asmongold, by the way. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And balls to the wall will accelerate the collapse of the dollar because Asmongold doesn't realize, and probably that type of person that Nick Shirley promotes, that end the Somali fraud and all that type of stuff, and drug trafficking. It's like the current dollarization of the world depends on those things. It's what's keeping our dollar afloat. It's a horrible situation. Insane billions and billions and billions of frauds, billions and billions and billions in drug trafficking. The dollar depends on those things continuing. And if you get someone who actually comes in and manages to put an end to them, their reward will be accelerating the dollar's collapse. That's why I say the dollar is a Ponzi scheme. There's no fixing it. It's any attempt to fix the current corrupt system just accelerates the collapse.
Dictator energy. Like, we need someone that isn't playing around, because not to be, I'm kidding a little bit, but we do need to get serious. Look at our country. They let in 10 million illegals. We tried to deport them, and they rioted to prevent us from deporting people.
Yes, and you think it's bad they let in 10 million illegals, yet you wanted Kamala Harris. It would have been another 10 million illegals. Under Trump, it's minus 3 million so far. And you said Kamala Harris would have been better. That's one of the things that came out of your mouth, Nick Fuentes, is you said Kamala Harris would be better. You thought, let's, having another 10 million illegal immigrants into the country would be a good thing.
We're war in Ukraine. We're at war in Iran. How long before war in Taiwan? The debt's
all that would have happened with Kamala Harris too.
It's approaching 40 trillion.
The Biden administration never said no to Israel. Why would Kamala Harris?
Like, we have real problems.
No, I agree. Well, Tucker Carlson, who you're no fan of, the numbers show Republicans told him, I agree. He said God would have to appear to him to run for president. He doesn't want that. What if Tucker Carlson ran?
Nick Fuentes has a beef with Tucker Carlson.
I don't know if I would get behind that. I don't think he has the temperament to lead, and I also think he's too much of an anti-Semite. I don't think
he's slandering Tucker Carlson. By the way, I don't think Tucker Carlson is an anti-Semite. And I guess that makes another strike against Nick Fuentes is by making up, allegations against someone you don't like. I think that's bad. That's actually, it means, can I really trust your other judgments if you're making up stuff about about Tucker Carlson?
Someone with that much hatred in their heart. Someone needs to tell Tucker Carlson that, we just actually have to love everybody as Christians.
I think he's memeing. Partly he's memeing when he's calling Tucker anti-Semite. But still, a lot of people will hear that and think, oh, Tucker Carlson might actually be an anti-Semite. No, it's not funny.
I'm kidding a little bit, but no, I don't.
Yeah, that's the problem. A little bit. Only a little bit, not completely. And that's the problem. That means you're partly alleging that Tucker Carlson is an anti-Semite. And you're doing so dishonestly. And that is a strike against you as far as I'm concerned, Nick Fuentes.
I don't like Tucker, and I don't trust him. So I think he's full of it. And, you know, he is kind of like...
Tucker Carlson is right on the same wavelength as me that I've nothing against... I know a lot of Jews. I have nothing against them, but I think the state of Israel has done very problematic things like funding ISIS and helping them genocide Christians in Syria. Just throw that out there. Also, what they've done in Gaza has been great lately, and their role in getting United States into this war in Iran that's going to wreck the global economy. That's not too great either. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of Israel, and I think Tucker Carlson is just about on the same page as me as this, and worried about the amount of influence Netanyahu has over Trump. And that doesn't mean that I'm an anti-Semite. Or, yeah, if Tucker's an anti-Semite, and when he's on the complete same wavelength as me, what does that make me?
He did a thing at Turning Point USA, and these college kids were pressing him a little bit, and he like lost his mind. He was like angry. It's like, if you can't handle a couple of college kids asking about your net worth, how are you going to handle a campaign? I don't think that.
I don't know this example, but I don't see getting mad as being that big a problem.
It's going to work out.
You get mad a lot. You got mad at Tucker Carlson, and so you're slandering him.
So, but he's been pretty good, though. Lately, he's been pretty good, even though we have our differences. He thinks I'm
President
gay.
Tucker Carlson sounds pretty good.
Yes, I have heard that Nick Fuentes is gay. I think that was something he pushed himself at some point. It's not true, apparently, but he's memed about it and played along with it. And when you do that, you can't blame people for calling you gay if you were joking about being gay. I think it's because he has a problem with liberal women. And so he said, oh, I might as well be gay, and played around that way. But if you do that, don't blame people to assume you're gay if you suggest you might be gay.
Nah.
With Vice President Nick Fuentes.
No, you be the vice president if it's him. That's your guy.
Well, listen, Tucker, when nobody was defending me, you were, but being censored, he did. I mean, I like Tucker.
Yeah.
I know you think he's a weasel or whatever. I really don't. I like the fact he's hot-headed. And like when you said something about his dad, he called him, threatened to, I mean, I like the hot-headedness. It's like,
Well, I did his show, and then he started talking trash about me. I'm like, Tucker, I thought we were friends now. Like, we had dinner. I thought we were cool. And then he starts saying I'm an anti-Semite everywhere. So I want to be his friend. He does.
Yeah, okay, so that's why he's saying Tucker's an anti-Semite is because he feels Tucker's calling him an anti-Semite. Okay, I get that. Still, it's not great, and I'd say that out of the two, I think Nick Fuentes is more of an anti-Semite. For example, he's not even willing to trust, Peter Thiel, just because he's Jewish. Yes, he can be suspicious, but just because someone's Jewish doesn't automatically mean they're evil and an evil Zionist.
Doesn't want, he thinks I'm gay. He's going around telling everybody that little gay kid that doesn't support JD Vance. It's like, bro, what's your
wait, don't tell him about the threesome, you and me and Tucker.
Okay, that's just nonsense.
I went straight to Rome.
Funny, was there. That's a joke. Hey, come on, I'm taking a vacation in Burnout. And they claim you're over there plotting Trump's death in Rome.
Right.
Me and Tucker and Obama had a threesome.
Yeah, okay. I think the rest of this video is just Alex Jones joking around having threesomes with various people. So I think I'm going to end it here. This was a interesting little video. It'll be on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Come watch on Kick or Twitch. And I'll see you next video. Bye.